Hey, what's happening, everybody? I am Pruitt. This is Everyday People doing everyday good old you know what. Hope y'all are doing okay. I'm unbelievable as always. My voice is a little weird today. Not sure why. I feel okay. But yeah, thank y'all for being here. Thank you for watching and checking us out each and every week. This is a podcast where we just hang out and sit on the mics and just go through the everyday life that we live kind of thing. You know what I mean? Right now, I am the only one on the mic because if you look on the camera, that other seat is empty because somebody is experiencing a bit of everyday life as far as rehearsals and a little bit of everything going on. So I think they just got here, but I'm not expecting them to get on the mic with me. So you may be in for a treat because the show might be a little bit shorter. I don't know if that's a treat or if that's a problem for you all, but we shall find out. Anyway, thank y'all for being here. If you're watching live, go ahead and hit like right now on YouTube. And if you're not watching live and you're on YouTube, hit subscribe, please, and thank you. And before we get rolling, I want to do my monthly salutations and thank you to the fine folks in the Patreon community. You can go to patreon.com/AntPruitt, and that will provide support for me and the show and to, continue to do this wonderful world of podcasting, if you will. Currently, we have, looks like eight members there. So thank you to these members here on the screen. I cannot say everybody's name. Matt Buyankinanti. I'm not sure how to say your name, but thank you, Matt. Thank you, Alvin. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Dr. Drew. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Finn. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate y'all supporting us and supporting the show. Keep spreading the word. Again, that is patreon.com/AntPruitt. All right, on with the show. Okay, so I am here again, as I mentioned previously. I'm here by myself, and that's all good. I just want to ramble a little bit. It's been an interesting week. Let me give you a quick update as far as what's been going on with stuff we touched on last week, as far as the move and whatnot and jobs and so on and so forth. I did get the janitor job that I mentioned last week. Got that. Haven't gotten a start date yet, but that should be pretty soon, I presume. Just got to go through all of the rigmarole of background checks and drug tests. I've already done the drug test and I'm clean and good to go on all of that. But now I just sit and wait on an actual start date. But in the interim, I've been working on other stuff. I've been working on a project with ZDNet. That ended up having a bit of a monkey wrench in it because come to find out somebody else was working on the project too. Didn't know that. So I had to pivot and I will do something else with said project. Mine was supposed to come out tomorrow, but it's not going to come out tomorrow now, as in April 11th. But it's not going to come out now. I'll figure out when it's going to come out. I have to do some rewriting, do some reshooting, all that good stuff. And I'll probably work on that sometime tomorrow around lunch or so, because I got a pretty busy schedule lined up tomorrow with that and some other stuff that I've been doing with my neighbor and their business, wanting to do some content for them. I've worked with them in the past, and I reached out to them and say, hey, look, y'all, care to help a brother out? And just so you know it, they needed some help. They needed some content to help with marketing. So that's what we've been working on and getting up bright and early, hanging out with them because they're an HVAC company. So, HVAC contractors, they start early in the morning. Worked on some of their stuff and got one more thing to do with them tomorrow morning before we figure out next week, because we got a lot to cover, a lot to do. And I'm looking forward to it. It's more work. Just something else to put into the pot to help pay some bills and get ready for this here move and so forth. But that is the current update at the moment. As I know more, I shall share more. Queen Pruitt did get her her Showtime day. Let me see if I can find that for you. For those of you that are in the area, let's see. I'll put it over here on the screen, I think. Yeah, it's on the screen. And that's got private information, so I want to hide that too. But it's in Santa Rosa Junior College, and it is April 25th through April 28th. Those are the show dates. And if I do a full screen here, I could just show you the screen. Let me just do it like that. Boom, there it is on the screen. Much Ado About Nothing shows April 25th through the 28th at Santa Rosa Junior College. For those of you here in Sonoma County or if interested in coming to Sonoma County, come on down, check it out. As it says on the screen, it's not a free event. It's $15 at the door. So they'll collect it at the door, or I think they'll take Venmo or something like that too. So can't do any type of advanced ticketing, but that's what's going on with that. Looking forward to it. She's been doing her very best with it. And yeah, she has her moments of frustration because that shit is hard, but she's still pushing through, and we're rooting for her, and she's going to be all right. I'll be there on the 25th. I think I'm in town on the 25th. Got travel coming up, but I think I'm in town the 25th. So I'll be there on opening night. And after that, that's up in the air. We shall see. All right. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. First off, well, actually, it's pretty much the same topic, but a couple different facets there. So we just recently had our national championship in college basketball for both men's and women's here in the U.S. And I've said, I don't know how many times to people that have asked, the women's college basketball game is by far a much more superior version of basketball. And it's been that way for years because the women are they're just more fundamentally sound when it comes to how they play basketball. Even if you look at the NBA and the quote world champion NBA teams, I just don't care for that type of basketball anymore. They just sort of stand around, they run up and down, a lot of points scored, but I guess that's what sells tickets is a lot of points. It just seems like there's no defense, and it seems like every little tap is a foul. And I don't particularly care for it. But the women's college basketball game, those girls, they're going 200 mile an hour. They're are making the picks and playing defense, and it's such a great game. But anyway, the championship was featuring University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks. I absolutely hate the Gamecocks, and that's because I'm a Clemson fan. Go Tigers. But I love their coach, Don Staley. And it was them versus the Iowa Hawkeyes and Caitlin Clark. The game was a very entertaining game. But actually, let me back up. Before that game, they had their press conferences, as they always do for these big events. And the coaches sit down and talk to the press, players sit down and talk to the press. And there's always some type of controversy when it comes to press conferences nowadays. I guess it's because the so-called journalists are just trying to figure out a way to stir up some anger and frustration or what have you, just to draw more clicks to their articles online. I don't know, but it's a bit annoying. But Coach Don Staley of the Gamecocks, she was asked a particular question right before the national championship game. And I guess you can say, yeah, it had something to do with the game, but maybe it didn't have something to do with the game. I don't know. So let me pull this up on the screen here. So if I hit this button and then hit this button here, trans athletes is the headline on NBC News. Trans athletes should be allowed to play women's sports, South Carolina coach Don Staley says. And yeah, I saw the interview, the video version of it as it was happening. And bruh, it was, the guy asked the question, whomever it was, you can sort of hear them in the back. And when they asked the question, the look on her face, it just sort of changed from really, but because she's on the spot. And to her credit or to her discredit, I don't know, depends on your take, she just went ahead and answered the question, because what's happening right now is there's some type of lawsuit happening, and people are suing the NCAA, that's the college league, because there are transgender people going from the male side of things to the female side of things and participating in these female sports and having these huge advantages. Say what you want, but those are the facts of the matter. Those transgender people going from male to female have come into some of these games and totally dominated. And Dawn Staley, apparently she has no problem with it. And I got to tell you, as much as I love Dawn Staley, that hurt my feelings. I don't know what you all think of it. Feel free to say so in the comment section here or in the chat if you're watching live. But I didn't care to hear that. And and the thing is, I can disagree with her and it'd be okay. Life's going to go on. She's going to have to deal with that. But anyway, that was before the national championship. So then the national championship game happens. And of course, people are still going to be buzzing about that conversation in her comments on this really hot button topic here. So the game kicks off and, well, it's not kickoff, it's tip off because it's basketball. The game tips off and it's a good game. South Carolina was down by double digits in the first quarter because Iowa is a damn good basketball team. And then it just sort of went back and forth and it caught up, and South Carolina ended up winning the championship by double digits. It was an unbelievable game, entertaining game, So at the end, of course, there's always the handshakes between the coaches and the players are going to be really, really excited, and some are going to be really, really hurt because this is the biggest game of their career, and I get that. And then the camera goes to Dawn Staley for her post-game interview right there on the court as this stuff is happening. And I have thoughts on that particular moment, but, again, the press is just doing their job, just doing what they're told to do by the powers that be. So the game is over. She's just elated. She's in tears, just tears of joy, and can't really contain herself. And Holly Rowe, a great journalist and reporter, she was doing her job and was over there to get the interview because that's what she was assigned to do. And Holly Rowe just sits there and gives her that moment. She starts to ask a question, but she sees what's happening and she just stops. And it's beautiful. Okay. So there's that part of it. But then the next part is what Dawn Staley says. Dawn Staley is a Christian woman, and she is very, very open about her Christianity and her faith. Totally fine, especially here in America, especially in the state of South Carolina. That's what everybody wants to hear is you're a Christian. It's another story for another day. But she's very open about her faith, and she continued to talk about her faith and giving her thanks to God and so on and so forth. And it was great and fine and dandy. But, a day or so later after I watched this and heard her post-game remarks and so forth, I started thinking, isn't that a bit of a conflict of interest as far as your faith goes and the whole transgender thing? Because the stuff that I heard growing up in the South, in the Bible Belt, man, you gay, transgender, any of that stuff, that was a no-go. That was, you don't talk about it. It's taboo. It's sinful. You going straight to hell. You're going to burn up. And it was all kinds of stuff like that, but I don't know where. I just couldn't quite figure out the alignment, if you will, regarding her previous statements of, transgender is okay and to be able to play in this particular game that says female sports or women's sports. I'm not sure what just happened there. Uh-oh. Oh, that drive got full. Hold on. Let me just pause that. So I'm going to pause here for a second. Okay, so now, sorry about that. Now we're back. I forgot to clean that disk drive out. for audio. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So again, growing up, it was just taboo. And then I'm trying to figure out where her alignment is and how all of this works together with her faith and her beliefs. And then how everything works with this potential lawsuit going on with the NCAA and more transgender people joining into the female sports. And it bugs me a little bit because, and no, I don't have daughters, but if I had daughters, it would definitely bug me. Especially when you think about this beyond sports. That's just my thought. Okay. I'm thinking about this beyond sports. We go all the way back in time and in history, and let's just take color out of it. Let's take black folks out of it. Color didn't matter. Let's just go all the way back in time, and not too much too back in the far history, but women in general had no freaking rights, just meant absolutely nothing. And there were a lot of females that fought for more female rights and women's rights over the years. And it seems like it's a bit of a slap in the face when something like this is allowed. You know what I'm saying? Women didn't have the right to vote. And then there was not a lot of women's sports. And then they eventually made women's sports because females, they like to play ball too. And so when they get female sports, now you're saying somebody that identifies as a female can now hop in and just interrupt their game too. Then why the hell do we even have the segregated sports? Male versus female. I don't know. So that's one part of it. The next part of it is, since Dawn Staley and the University of South Carolina won the national championship, they get championship rings. That's nothing unusual. But it's a big deal here because Dawn Staley gives her practice squad championship rings too, because she feels like the people that her ladies basketball team practice against each and every day throughout the season, they are helping them to get better. In sports, they call them the scout team. Okay. These are the people that are not going to play in the game, but they're going to do everything they can to represent the competition you're about to play that week. So she has a scout team, but her scout team are a bunch of dudes, not females, dudes. So why is she practicing against males, quote unquote? Is it because these males are bigger, faster, stronger, and going to really, really make these females on her team work harder because they're bigger, faster, stronger? I mean, or do these males identify as females? I don't know. Why didn't she pick other females? So I don't know. That bugged me. I still love Dawn Staley. I love watching her as a player back in the 90s and watching her her career just blow up. And then she got into coaching and gold medals and all that stuff. She's done an amazing job for the community with just being a prolific athlete and a prolific leader and winner. But these last couple of things, man, I just sort of, I don't get it. Don't agree with it, but it's okay. She don't care that I disagree. I'm sure about that. All right. I'm going to pause 1 second for a quick ad break. Thank y'all for being here. So give me about 10 seconds of your time to listen to this ad break so we can pay some bills. Be right back. All right. And we are back. Thank y'all for hanging out and being here on the show and watching live and hitting like and subscribe and sharing and all that good stuff here with everyday people doing everyday shit. Coming out of the break, I just had a bit of an intermission talk with Hardhead because apparently he can hear me in another room just gabbing about this. And he had some thoughts and basically was telling me to stay safe. Since I opened my mouth on this matter. Anyway, there was one more story that I wanted to bring up here. It came across my feed. Unfortunately, it is definitely political, but at the same time, there's some things that from a social standpoint that got my attention. So let's do yet another screen share here. Open that screen up. There we go. So this comes from Collin Rugg. I don't know who Collin Rugg is, whoever the hell he is. Don't know. But it showed up in my screen because apparently 9.7 million people watched it. So X had to show it to me. And it reads, former high school wrestler Gabriel Pizzulo tackles a crazed man who allegedly assaulted a Subway employee. Subway as in the sandwich shop. He continues, this kid would be going to jail if he did this in New York City. After helping police make the arrest, Pizzulo said he wants men to start, quote, standing up for people again. Then, quote, there's a lot of talk nowadays of toxic masculinity. And I'm really trying to, push this narrative that you should stand up for people, innocent people, people in your local neighborhood, he said during the interview. The Subway customer, Daniel Saunders, was charged with battery resulting in bodily injury and disorderly conduct. All right. So, this one struck a nerve with me, y'all, because I guess people call me an old soul because I'm older than what I really am in some ways. I'm just old-ish. That's how I say it. And there was a point in my life where I would be driving down the street and see a woman walking with a child. I would offer them a ride because that's just the values that I had. I wouldn't do it now, but at one point in time, that was some values that I had. Times have changed, and I can't say that I'm going to do that now because it's just not safe nowadays. But then there's a time where if I seen something going down wrong, such as a man slapping a woman or a man slapping another man for no damn reason, I would step in and be like, hey, hold up, dude. No, that ain't cool. I just have a problem with idiocy and stupidity, and I have a problem with bullies, But nowadays, you step up, you end up getting prosecuted to the highest extent. And it's because we have these weird freaking laws nowadays. I mean, I've heard the myths of burglars breaking into people's homes and hurting themselves as they break into people's homes, or getting hurt once they get on the property of someone else's home by the property owners. They sue the property owners for getting hurt, even though they were breaking and entering. And they apparently have a case. None of that shit makes sense to me, but this right here, again, according to Collin Rugg, whoever the hell he is, that kid would have gone to jail for stepping up for the employee at Subway. And if you see the video of it, he literally body slams the guy and is like, look here, dude, you're not going to do this up in here, not with me around. And I get it. I applaud him, stand up for these people that, that are unable to stand up for themselves. Yeah, there's a lot of idiots working in these restaurants and fast food and grocery stores. There's a lot of idiot kids, a lot of idiot teenagers that can frustrate the hell out of you when you go in and ask them for a black coffee and they still decide to ask you, do you want cream and sugar? Yeah, I get the frustration, but at the same time, those are still human beings, and you got to try to do better about respect. But that right there, that touched a nerve with me. I want to know your thoughts on this, because it's funny. I'm just looking at this video. I mean, he went in on this cat and nobody else is around. I've never seen an empty Subway like that. I guess they're really going bad, but he beat the hell out of this dude. And then the Subway worker got on the phone. Looks like she's calling 911, and looks like she tried to lock him in. Just like, you ain't getting out of here. she's like, yeah, go get your ass, But anyway, yeah, that bugged me. So feel free to leave me your thoughts on that story as well. You can always send feedback to podcast@antpruitt.com. That's the good old fashioned email way. Works totally fine for me. Or you can just give us a tag over on social media with your thoughts and comments as well. All of that stuff works. Well, power went out. This has just been a shittastic evening for whatever reason. So I'm glad I was getting ready to close, but I have no idea if the video finished recording because it got cut off. The power got cut off. So that file is probably corrupt. So, oh well. I'm going to get out of here. Screw it. Be all right. Life goes on. Anyway, y'all do well. Do something nice for yourself. Do something nice for someone else. If you got questions, give us a shout. Thanks for all the support. Thank you to our Patreon people. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, I'm out of here. This is some bullshit.